What is happening, everybody? John Denton here with my final thoughts, or at least my current thoughts, my review of J. Cole's The Off-Season. So this, his 6th studio album coming off KOD, and kind of a replacement for what we were expecting last year, and an album called The Fall Off, which we may or may not get. Who knows at this point? It's been a weird year, right? Anyway, if we're talking about a concept album, right, generally in music, you know, we talk about something like Good Kid, Mad City, or even Cole's own For Your Eyes Only, something with a narrative through line or sort of deliberate musical themes or a story to tell. The Off-Season doesn't have that. It's a fairly scattershot selection of songs and styles, but the concept here is of preparation and improvement of Cole's commitment to his own off-season training in deeply improving his own rap performance and skill set in chasing another championship, basically, after already filling his trophy cabinet with platinum plaque. What we're given, in my opinion, is a showcase of Cole rapping at a career level best. A career level best. I'm talking about pure performance on the microphone here. Yes, there are bars throughout. Yeah, there's some intelligent, multifaceted songs, some multifaceted musings on topics, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But I'm really talking about technical stuff, breath control, timing, cadence, aggression, and most importantly, tone. Lupe Fiasco, actually, recently talked about the importance of tone on his Twitter, how ultimately a rapper can say any old shit, but if they say it with world-class tone, the world will listen. Well, Cole doesn't just say any old shit, not even any lines about farting, or at least I didn't catch him. Anyway, and at no point does he call himself Martin Luther King in the club, so that's a positive. And while this record might not be as considered as For Your Eyes Only, or as experimentally unusual as KOD, or as complete as Forest Hills Drive, tone here is unmatched. Kicks off straight away with 95 South. It's a banger, southern style banger where Cole is just spitting fire into the microphone. It's first example of the energy he's bringing to this record, and it just wakes you up into realizing you're kind of hearing a different Cole here. You marry this with the LA Leakers freestyle, which dropped a couple of days before the album came out, and you have this multi-platinum artist sounding as hungry and as furious on the microphone as a rookie. He drafts in Cameron for this track as well, which is unusual because you're not expecting features on a Cole record based on his last, 3? And if you can hear that Where Your Hood At hook without getting fired up inside, then I don't know what's wrong with you, to be honest. But yeah, moving into Amari, which is a song that's got a video out as well. It's a song that him and his label and Dreamville are driving around this album. From this song, he's not just content with hitting pockets and punchlines in beats like in 95 South. Because Amari is the first example on the record of Cole on a Gunna style beat. That guitar and the instrumental, a smoother beat, and he's using a different type of flow. He's exercising his newfound ability to flow on this type of beat, but he's still bringing bars. He's actually switching up melodies, clarity in his delivery. Again, breath control, triumphant hook on this song. I'm not saying it's an all-time J. Cole track, but I think it's one that will stand the test of time, actually. Massively listenable track. And the album starts to pick up a bit more pace. You've got My Life. First of all, normalize. Please, normalize. Hiding features on release day. At least I would say release week, but I understand there's politics involved. You've got to get it up there, got to get a little Spotify links in or whatever. But just for those first few hours, all the reactions of people, my own and watching other people's, of hearing, in this case, 21 Savage and Moray coming on this track, and obviously Little Baby later in the album. If we'd known they were coming, it just wouldn't hit in the same way. But this song itself, it is kind of like a lot from 21 Savage Part 2, very similar instrumental. Has a great hook from Murray as well, who I'm glad to see is getting that shine. And I think a cold career high verse from 21 Savage, who just seems to be getting better and better and better. That one line, I pray that my past ain't ahead of me, among many cold lines. I disrespect you respectfully. I mean, really killing it on this track. And this is one that will definitely stand the test of time. And after that, move into a couple of songs that showcase the idea of the concept of this album, while not necessarily delivering as songs themselves. They're both quite truncated. Applying Pressure, he brings a kind of laid-back flow, gorgeous to listen to, despite the harshness of some of the lyrics. There's a lot of sort of street stuff in this album as well, talking about his younger days and the worlds and environments that he saw. Second part of this song, it just breaks down into Cole talking basically about how great he is and how he's almost insulted that anybody could insinuate that he isn't that great. And while that doesn't necessarily bear much fruit on repeat plays, as a sort of centerpiece of the concept of the album, it does work. Punching the Clock, which has quotes from Dame Lillard as well, and really does ramp up that basketball reference, ramp up that off-season stuff. I mean, Damian Lillard's literally talking about, I mean, it's not hidden here, talking about the mental and physical preparation he puts in the off-season before going and trying to achieve greatness in the on-season. I guess you call it, we don't call it off-season in UK, really. It's like pre-season, it's a bit different. We have to give a shout out as well, even though this song is truncated, the rhyme scheme throughout is amazing. It basically just maintains a rhyme throughout the entire 2 minutes. So once again, Cole showcasing what he can do, and it ties in nicely into the concept. Probably my least favourite track on the record is 100 Mil. Again, it does tie into the concept. It's basically just this repeated hook of him, 100 mil and I'm still on my grind, and it sounds decent loud. There's this weird sort of sampled basketball whistle that sort of appears almost randomly in the beat. I mean, it is in time, but it doesn't necessarily work. It has inspirational elements despite the ridiculous unrelatability of having 100 million in the bank, but I don't think it's Cole's best work, and Baz tries to come on and save the song a little bit at the end with some Imogen Heap style harmonies, which gives it a bit of depth, almost like everybody in the room thought this isn't quite on the level we need it to be. Let's try some shit. Let's try and elevate it, but it doesn't quite work for me. It's fine, but yeah, probably my least favourite song on the record. Then we're moving into the back half of the album. You've got Pride is the Devil, which is a standout track, but it's a weird one. It is a weird one, because it's like a classic Cole sermon on a subject, where he's looking at things from multiple angles. The subject here obviously being pride, and it's on a different kind of beat that you'd normally expect for Cole on that type of track. But despite featuring an excellent Lil Baby feature, and when he comes on the beat as well, he starts to eat it up, the beat itself is from another track, and it's from a recent track. It's from Can't Decide by Amari, and that's a little weird. I mean, that song's not even a year old, and the producer is the same across both tracks in T-. Personally, I can't work out why that same beat is used again. It's not exactly a legendary instrumental, and hearing it again so quickly, it kind of takes away from the impact of this track, which otherwise is really good, and as standalone is really good. With all the beats in the world and all the infinite possibilities of beats in the wider multiverse, extended multiverse of hip-hop production, I can't work out why this one was used again. Maybe you guys can tell me. And that feeling kind of moves into Let Go My Hand, which is definitely one of the standout tracks on the album. But Cole literally talks about, on this track, finding this very instrumental on his phone like a year after he'd had it sent to him. And you start to get this feeling that this is a little bit of a mixtapey, almost like a B-sides type of album. Not to denigrate it, and like I said, this song is really strong. But you're talking about reused instrumentals, old instrumentals. It's hardly giving the same feeling of a brand new, finely honed record like you would get from a 2014 Forest Hills Drive. But it is actually a gorgeous instrumental and a fantastic track, talking about religion and fatherhood. A very powerful central line about his son actually saying that he doesn't want to hold his dad's hand anymore, which people of a certain age, parents of a certain age, well, that hits, trust me, that hits. You can see that on my reaction. And then we move into the final run of the album, and that's strong again, man. We'd already heard the Climb Back and Interlude. Climb Back, a song that within the context of the album and sort of with tracks around it as opposed to just a single, just gets better and better on every listen. Yeah, one of the deeper songs on the album, one of the more thoughtfully produced songs on the album as well. Wrapping things up, we've got Close, which just again showcases that hungry, furious Cole. Fantastic rhymes throughout that one. And then finishing off with Hunger on Hillside, which is an uplifting album, closer on soaring strings and snares from the mind of Boy Wonder and company. Really strong closer. So while the off-season might not have the depth of Forest Hills Drive or If Your Eyes Only, man, it is a supremely listenable record. You can spin this one over and over and over again, as I have been all weekend and today. And it ultimately does fulfill this concept. It does feel like Cole expanding his skill set, improving, regaining that hunger, putting the work back into his body, his talent, and his mind, to hopefully deliver potentially a career high project in the fall off, if indeed that is an album that does happen. That does feel like where we're going, and it's an exciting time. It's inspiring shit. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Supremely listenable album, but definitely not the best in J. Cole's back catalogue. Let me know your thoughts on the score. Let me know your thoughts on the album down below. I've been John Denton. I'll catch you all very soon, alright? Peace.